Hey, let's get going. Happy Monday. I'm coming to you from a very hot Fairfax. Looks like it's going to be today. And this weekend very much felt like summer has begun, um, which actually feels really good. So I was a little bit surprised this morning when I woke up and just kind of feeling down, just a little, I think, overwhelmed. Some degree of anxiety. My to-do list just feels a little bit overwhelming, and both sort of on the professional side as well as on the personal side. And so it had me uh, thinking about thoughts, or just being very, very aware of these experiences that we all have called thoughts. And um, it's the realization that whenever I'm awake, I'm not sleeping, I'm thinking. Most of the time, I don't even know that I'm thinking. It's just happening. And it's so automatic that uh, it's just my default reality. And it still takes some effort. It's getting easier as I keep practicing mindfulness to kind of activate this kind of awareness that is happening. I'm also very aware that all of these thoughts are involuntary. So again, I don't wake up at any certain time imagining that I'm going to be thinking certain thoughts at certain parts of the day, right? We all just kind of ooze through our day and are bombarded with these experiences that, if we're lucky, we can pinpoint them and identify them and say, "Ooh, thinking, believing, remembering, they're all versions of thoughts," but they all just pop up out of nowhere and we don't really have any control over them. And they have an incredible impact and effect on everything. I mean, our mood, our disposition, our sense of openness or protectiveness, all of that is influenced by whatever the themes or the speed with which these thoughts are appearing in our mind. They really shape our subjective experience. And then there's just the sheer volume of them. So this number here, 30 to 50,000 thoughts, some pretty simple math, basically just taking 16 hours a day. So assuming you're sleeping for about 8, which is probably not true for most of us. Let's say you're awake for 16 hours a day and you have a thought every couple of seconds. So I think it's a pretty conservative estimate. If you multiply that out, it comes out to, 30 to 40, depending on how busy we are. It could be 50,000 of these involuntary events that shape our present moment reality. So pretty significant stuff. And so I think it merits taking a step back and just intentionally reshaping or curating our relationship to thoughts. And so one of the tools we have here is mindfulness. And there's 3 specific things I want to practice today. One is just the awareness that we are constantly thinking. So taking a step back and just neutrally observing the mind thinking all the time. That's super difficult to do, but we can get better at it. And then cultivating a kind of non-reactivity. So all of the thoughts have a feeling tone, or the subject matter of the thoughts can either feel pleasant or unpleasant, right? There's substance to, there's stickiness to them. So being able to take a step back and say, "Oh, there's another thought. Oh, and I'm not going to react to it." That's sort of foundational to this idea of mindfulness. And then sort of building some resilience that, again, we don't choose them. So it's kind of weird when we take thoughts so personally. Thought just appears out of nowhere, and before I know it, I might be sitting there beating myself up, saying, "Oh, you always, you never," and it's like, where did that come from, right? So learning how to just take a non-judgmental step back and simply notice that this is happening all the time. There's freedom at the other end of this. So let's try that out. Let's close our eyes. Let's begin by noticing the body sitting, breathing, hearing, sensing, smelling, tasting. And either noticing how easy or how difficult it might feel to actually slow down and drop into this sense of embodiment. So noticing that there is such a thing as a body, and that it has its own experiences going on. And that's quite distinct from mental activity. So even just feeling into that, noticing the difference between sensations in the body and then mental activity in terms of thoughts or images or words. There's no value judgment here. I'm not saying one is better than the other. So the first step in mindfulness is just being able to drop into a place of simply noticing. There are sensations and there are thoughts. We, this, whoever we perceive to be self, whatever your name is and how you imagine that being going through life, doesn't choose any of the sensations, doesn't choose any of the thoughts. They just happen, and we feel them and experience them. Right now, we're simply trying to touch into that truth, that awareness that that's just how things are. We don't choose the weather. We don't choose the words or things other people talk about. We don't choose the sensations that the body experiences. And we also don't choose the thoughts that appear in the mind and seem to hold so much sway over us. It is possible to become aware of this truth in the same way that I'm guessing everyone can right now really feel into the veracity of the fact that none of us chose this weather. We can simply experience the weather as it is. It's not personal. It's nothing we're doing. It's simply something that we're experiencing, and we can know that truth. The kind of non-reactive acceptance of the fact that the weather is the way that it is right now. And so it is with thoughts. We can just take a step back and simply notice that the weather, if you will, in between our ears is of a certain type. It's constantly changing. Sometimes it's faster, other times it's quieter. This world of thought is just happening. And oftentimes, because of the nature of thoughts and our relationship to them, we get wrapped up in them. Actually, usually we get wrapped up in them. So, whatever the thoughts the content that the thoughts contain is juicy and sticky. And when we notice that happening and we get carried away with thoughts or memories, we can just remember that, hey, I didn't choose this. I don't have to do this. Get to take a step back, simply notice. Doing that repeatedly builds a kind of resilience, a bit of a, it's almost like a coping mechanism to be able to say, I know how to place thoughts and memories and beliefs. And there's freedom being able to do that consistently. Again, there's nothing wrong with the brain's natural tendency to create stories and narratives and hold on to beliefs. It's what kept our ancestors alive. That's why that system still works. And it's also good to just see it for what it is, the way that works. Sometimes those thoughts and their content are really useful, and oftentimes not so useful, and just kind of distracting from reality. Sometimes those thoughts have to do with the future or the past. So that's a clear sign of being lost in thought is when we are worrying, we're thinking about the future, or we're ruminating about the past. When that happens, we can just maybe with a smile on our face, just remember and say, ah, there it is. Just getting wrapped up in thoughts. Take a deep breath in through the nose, slow exhale through the mouth, really feeling the breath in this moment as it leaves our lungs. Hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Another deep inhale through the nose, slow controlled exhale through the mouth. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead, open your eyes, come on back to the session. Um, yeah, thoughts can be pretty great. They can be wonderful, and they can also be really tricky. I think the key is just to keep coming back to this awareness of what's actually happening. And like I said earlier, in my experience, that's synonymous with a kind of freedom to choose where you want to go with the situation. So that was a good reminder, and hope to see you tomorrow. Stay cool, everyone. It's gonna be a hot one.